All right, I'm the flat rate master, and well, scheduling your shop is probably doing it wrong. All right, so let's get into this. First off, we need to do a little background. It's obviously going to be shop management material more than tech stuff, so what it is. So let's talk scheduling. Now, first thing we got to establish is for a shop, you need to understand available billable hours. What I mean by that is we're going to use some simple math because I can't do math, and it'll be real easy to follow along. So let's say you have 10 technicians and they have 100% efficiency. So for ease of math, they're there at the shop for 10 hours. So that means they're 100% efficiency. So for those 10 hours their day, for those 10 technicians, you have 100 billable hours available. Now, it's important to note that rarely happens in actual shops. So I'm using simple math because instead of getting into the minutia of, the C tech that's at 50% efficiency, the B tech that's at, 120% efficiency, it's all going to vary based on your shop, your technicians. So you've got those 100 hours of billable time. How do you make sure those technicians, bill that 100 hours? Scheduling. And this is where so many shops screw their business up. And we're going to talk about some of the things that are done wrong, some things that can be improved. Now, this is not going to be an exact science because it's not an exact science. As we all know, you can pull a car in, write up 10 hours on it, and it sells for nothing. You can pull the next car in, write it up for 3 hours, and everything sells, and it all varies based on that. So you have to do, when you're scheduling, you have to do a little bit of predicting. So when you're scheduling, you have to do some predictions. Now, based on the car that's coming in, the complaint that it's coming in for, and your things called like average RO, ARO, what your shop's average repair order is, you can kind of get some formulas going that you can figure out what that each ticket's going to, result in. So let's give some simple examples. You got a 2022 scheduled in for an oil change rotate. Well, chances are you're going to get an oil change, a rotate, maybe a filter or two. Doubtful it's going to have any scheduled maintenance due. Doubtful it's going to need brakes. So for that car, whatever hours you expect to get out of it is basically what it came in for. And most shop owners, most people that schedule don't understand that. They really do not understand that when you're bringing in a very late model car, it's not going to amount to much. Yeah, they know that, but it doesn't help the business at all to schedule it in when you're slammed and you've got nothing, you've got no available techs to do it. That's what I mean by, scheduling can make or break a business. On the other side, I've got a Jeep outside that hasn't been assigned yet. Complaint of massive oil leak. Now, it could be a, simple as the last shop that did the oil change, pinched the O-ring on the oil filter housing. It's a 3/6. But more than likely, as we've had a slew of them come in, it needs an oil cooler. I mean, we wrote up 4 in one day, which, by the way, side note on that, the guy that came in waiting, hoping it was a cheap and easy fix, it wasn't. His oil cooler was leaking gallons. I'm hoping he made it to Mississippi. I hope he stopped often to check the oil because I put in 3.5 quarts in. He put 2 in the day before. It holds 6 quarts. So, but anyway, so predictably, I can estimate that's going to be, a couple hours sold for the technician it gets assigned to, which helps me predict who to assign it to and, It helps us, if you're tracking this kind of stuff, helps you decide relatively how many hours are going to be allocated to that car. You see what I'm getting at? Most shops don't do that. They don't understand that. Most shops do the dealership, everybody comes and waits, which is a horrible business plan, by the way. Nothing worse than having a showroom full of people watching you work, making phone calls, and you not getting anything to work, and as a service writer, not getting anything done because you've got 14 people coming up and you go, yeah, when's my car going to get ready? Another method is I nicknamed the Kaufman method. And unfortunately, it's a method that we kind of use here, despite my arguments against it. The Kaufman method is bring as many cars in as you can get until you basically can't bring any more cars in because you can't get any cars out. You schedule to a number and hope it all works out. Also not a very efficient method. But getting back to that method of predicting what a car is going to need. Now, obviously, there's variables. There's huge variables. That Jeep I was talking about a minute ago. Oh, bring it in. It's going to just need an oil change because the filter got cut. Do an oil change, clean it up. So for us, it'd be a half-hour oil leak cleanup, which is pressure washing and getting rid of all the oil residue or as much as we can. Oil change. If we're feeling froggy, oil leak diagnosis, which is another hour. But that's all it's going to be. Versus if it was a actual oil, cooler, it's 2 to 3.5 hours, depending on what kind of vehicle it is and how difficult the intake is to come off. It plus the added of the, half hour to clean it up, etc. But that is a much more dynamic and accurate way, accurate to a point. Again, because you have variables. You've got that car comes in, they decline, like that customer with the Grand Caravan. He declined the repair. That's a variable. So sometimes, and obviously when you're scheduling for a workload, you need to have some buffer on both sides of it, whether a bunch of stuff sells or a bunch of stuff doesn't sell. You've got an older Honda or Lexus coming in and they want a pre-trip inspection. Well, chances are it's going to need a little bit more than an oil change and a rotate. So you need to account for that when you're scheduling. Now let's talk about scheduling for techs. Now this really is a great way to schedule, and that is having dedicated appointments for dedicated techs. Now what that means is you've got those 10 techs and you allocate this appointment, this appointment, this appointment, and this appointment for tech 1, this appointment, this appointment, this appointment, and you base it based on their skill, their availability, kind of the stuff I do every day when assigning tickets. I've got to look at, is this ticket something this tech is going to be capable of doing skill-wise, time-wise, etc. But you kind of do that pre them coming in. You basically go, okay, this tech has this much work. Okay, we got a couple filler jobs that can go to this tech. You get very deep in the minutia of scheduling for each individual technician you have. And what happens is you kind of can balance it based on that. Because, this tech sold a bunch of work, you can kind of shift some of his work to somebody else, and you can constantly balance, but you schedule for those available hours and those available technicians. Generally, those kind of shops flow very well because they don't have a lot of the stupid, and we don't have this issue, but a lot of shops do. yeah, I know you're in the middle of that engine job, but can you do this waiter oil change for me real quick? And then, 3 oil changes later, you get back on the job and the service writer's running over going, why isn't that engine job done yet? It kind of cuts down a lot of that stuff because they're scheduled for those cars, and it kind of narrows their focus to getting those cars in and out as quickly as possible. One of the things about these kind of methods of scheduling is they take a little bit more brain power than, yeah, come in. It actually takes service writers coordinating, scheduling appointments that make sense and not just scheduling to a number. And, scheduling to a number is great for keeping techs busy. Problem is, are they really working that efficiently? Again, the waiter situation is something we don't deal with, but it's prevalent in a lot of shops, and it kills productivity. I've said that many times on this channel. Pulling a tech off of a job at 2 o'clock to do a bulb. I did that today. Sorry, Josh. But it's unfortunately part of the problem of how things flow in a shop. And, again, as a shop owner, service manager, you have to adapt and follow the trends. And it's not a easy cut and dry. Scheduling never is easy and cut and dry. Even if you're scheduling to those kind of thoughts, it can all fall apart. We've all had those days where every car we pull in, I've had days where I had customers decline the oil change they came in for. Not making that up. I literally have had customers decline the oil change they came in for. So of course, when you're scheduling, you have to be, adaptable. You have to bob and weave to make sure your guys stay busy, productive. The reason for this video is a lot of shops schedule horribly. They wonder why, big jobs don't get done. They wonder why, techs are pissed off because, they're on their 4th oil change rotate for the day, and that 10-hour job that the service writer keeps bugging them about isn't getting done because they're too busy spending their day doing oil change rotates. Now, I don't let it take that long, but, pulling off to do this, pulling off to do that takes more time than you actually realize. The way I look at scheduling is the same way I look at everything else I do in my life. Efficiency, efficiency, efficiency. I'm fat and lazy. I want to find the easiest, quickest way to do stuff. I want to go from here to here as fast as possible. I don't want to go here, 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 and then get here. I want to go, boom. Everything I do is based on that. I want to find the quickest way to diagnose a car. I want to find the quickest way to fix a car. I want to work as efficiently as I can in everything I do. When I edit videos, I batch edit videos on Saturday. I batch film videos on Thursday. Efficiency as much as possible. I don't want to spend 3 nights a week filming videos. I do it one night. It's one night a week. And then I batch edit on Saturday. Efficiency. Heck, I have a render server. So I can keep editing more efficiently. I send my videos from my editing PC to another PC so that PC can render it so I can go back to editing. That's how obsessed I am with efficiency, is I want the quickest path from here to here. Just a note on the render server, when you're editing, when it's rendering, you really don't want to be trying to edit another video. It tends to make crashy things happen. So efficiency, that's the key to properly scheduling a shop, is you raise that efficiency level. Some of the stuff I do here, and I pound it into the guys. The AM is for diag. The afternoon is for knocking out work. We want to bring them in, diag and pull them back out, get to the next car, go to the next car, go to the next car. Parts come in, start knocking out work. Efficiency. I want to get as much work as I can through the door. You know, I did a video the other day talking about looking back at your stats. Now I'm gonna be honest, my stats are a little surprising. Am I the top billing guy in the shops? No. Am I, in the middle? Yes. You know what is also on that top of that list? And you know what I am number one in both shops for? Number of ROs. Why is that? Because efficiency. Today, I got done. There was cars outside. I grabbed and pulled them in and started checking them out. My other guys were occupied, so I checked them out. That's why I have the highest number of cars from this year. That's why I have the highest number of ROs, because ROs equals a car, is because I'm bringing in the most amount of cars. So, car comes in for an oil change, somebody needs to knock it out, I'm the one that's going to knock it out if I don't have anybody else available. My key is efficiency. I'm efficient at pulling in cars, checking them out, moving on to the next one. And the same should be true for scheduling. You want the most efficient schedule there is. Am I saying don't do oil changes on 2022s? No. Schedule them smart. Quick little side note on scheduling for technicians. When you're scheduling for each technician is going to have skills. You got that C-Tech that's billing at 50% efficiency because he does all the BS. You can schedule him in a lot more cars because he can do the 2022s, and it's not surprising he's not billing a lot because you're giving him the 2022s. And that's the efficiency that comes from scheduling per tech. So I hope you enjoyed this video. As always, thanks for watching. I am the Flat Rate Master.